All right, this time what we're going to do is we're going to come through and we're just going to clean up our view a little bit. So we kind of left it in the state where we've got buttons that are all connected. But I mean, the UI, of course, looks terrible. We need to make some things clear. We also need to get an image onto this background. So we're just going to do some cleaning up of the UI this time. So let's go ahead and go back into our storyboard. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and add a background image for the board that we're using. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm on the storyboard that will apply to both, so this any width, regular height. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image view. So what I like to do is I just like to search for the word image, and then it'll find an image view. And then what I want to do is I just want to drop the image view into this game board area. Now we've got to be a little sneaky about where we put this guy. So what I want to do is I want to put him, to where he's inside the game board. So I'm just going to kind of drag him inside the game board. But what he's going to do is he's going to actually fill the whole space, and I want him behind the buttons just in case. So to make something behind, you just rearrange its order in the outline. And so by moving it from the bottom to the top, you can see that now it's behind all those buttons. As far as the constraints go, it's going to be fairly easy. We're just going to make it match its parent just perfectly. So it's just going to match 0, 0, 0 all the way around. So I'm going to add those constraints. You can see that it made my life a little bit easier because I placed it like inside of the game board, and then it just made it really easy so that it knew who its super view was. So that one should be all set. Other things we need to do is we need to start clearing out some of our other things we've done. So there's an image on all of these buttons. That was just so we could see them while we were trying to do the layout. We're actually just going to clear those off. So you can actually highlight them all at once and just get rid of that. You can also go into the game board and you can clear off his image. So just say clear color. And then the usable area, you can come into him and you can say clear color on him as well. So at this point, it will actually kind of look a lot whiter. So it's a very white looking image. What I'd like to do is I'd like to open up the preview and just kind of see if these things look like they're about right. So you can see that it doesn't look like much right now. So it's just got a little white area with a spot for an image view. It's kind of nice that it says image view to at least show you there's something that's coming in that spot. And then what we're going to do to add that image is we want to add either the iPhone board or the iPad board. So I'm going to just do that in code. So what I need to do is I need to make a connection to this UI image view, and then in code, I'm going to set the actual image. So to make the connection, we'll just show the automatic to code again. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to add a connection to this image view. So I'm just going to click on this guy, drag this over. You can see it says UI view, so I must have grabbed the wrong thing. This is where the outline is handy, right? So I was on the game board. So if I right click drag from here, I can see it says UI image view, and I'm going to call this the game board image view, just because I like to kind of end the names with what they are. So that's great. So I've got a connection to it. If I tried to run it now, it still wouldn't look like much because I'm not using that connection. So let's go ahead and start using that connection. So hopping back over into code, feels like I'm hopping all over the place. I'm going to put these into an order that I like better. I kind of like the nav bar, the label, the buttons, and then the image view, and then the two outlets. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to, in view did load, I'd like to set up the game board button. So kind of in this view did load, this is stuff that happens, once, right when the view loads. I'm going to say game board image view dot image, and I'm going to set this image equal to something. Now, if it was only one image, I could say UI image, and I could just say named, and I could just say what the name of the file is. So I think the name of the file is over there on the left, iPhone board, for example, .png. PNG, I said. So if it was only one image view, I could do that. The problem is that I want to load a certain image depending on whether it's iPhone or iPad. So there's a couple ways that we could do that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ternary operator. So I'm going to decide if it's iPhone or iPad. So I'm going to say UI device, and there's a class method on UI device that lets you get the current device. And then the current device has what's called a user interface idiom. And that user interface idiom, it could be either .iPhone, sorry, it's just phone, or it could be iPad. So if it's phone, then what I want to do is I want to add the iPhone board. And then if it's not phone, we'll just assume that it's iPad. You could have done that operator in reverse. That would have been fine too. And so what this should do is this should actually add the correct game board. Sorry, it's a little hard to see there with how it wraps, but hopefully you can kind of piece together. This is a question, and then the ternary operator is returning either this image or the other image. Let's go ahead and run it and see if it all works. So what I want to do first is I want to run it on an iPhone. An iPhone should be kind of like a tall, skinny board. So that looks pretty good. To be honest, it would be kind of hard to tell because it would stretch my other image. I could have gotten away with only one image here, but they are slightly different, so I thought I'd do this. But to be honest, I mean, that looks like it's probably using the iPhone board image. And then if you switch it over to iPad, so you can run it on any iPad, I'll just run it on an iPad 2. Zoom out so I can see the iPad 2. And this one, they look like a little thicker lines. This looks like the board that I designed for the iPad. They're not exactly works of art, but they make it work just fine. So now you can see that we've got a game board on here. If you click in these spaces, it does actually say press board button because we set that much up. So that's pretty exciting. It would probably be a lot more interesting if these games actually like did something and like the title changed and all that. And that sounds like an excellent task for next time. All right, so in the world of model view controller, we're actually kind of done with the view at this point. So we got the view all set up. Now what we need to do, and we wrote the model last time, so we're going to bring in that code from the last unit where we had the model. We've got the view all done. Now we just need the controller, right? So the controller will get information from the view saying that something got clicked. He'll tell the model that information, and then he'll take the information from the model and update the view. And that's what the controller is all about. All right, see you next time when we start putting that together.